Okay, so here we go. This is our Design 300 lecture. It's week 9. We're halfway through the semester, and it's the 19th, 10 a.m. We are on Google Meet, and let's see what's up for this week. If we look on our list of all these cool things, we're working on the building envelope. So we've done the dirt, the ground, the soil, the utilities, the foundation, the stem walls, the flooring system. So the next part up is what we call the building envelope. And actually, um, the building envelope is more than walls, doors, and windows, but that's what we're going to focus on. Walls, doors, and windows. So that's our main topic. There is some Revit to do, and so we'll take a look at that. We'll probably look at that today. And so we have a few things. There's not much in the YouTube channel, just some basics to give you an idea. You should know that stick framing, which is what we're going to concentrate on, is really, really common in all of California, but particularly Northern California. Working with wood framing, it's very quick. We have a lot of wood nearby. We used to have a lot more wood nearby. Now it's coming from farther and farther away, but it goes up very quickly. And so we're going to talk about framing a wood stud wall. And that's actually the quickest, easiest part. Putting in a door well and properly is not as easy as you might think. And same with window installation. It all has to do with water and keeping water out and keeping your energy transfer appropriate and your light transfer appropriate. So that's why they call it building envelope. It has to do with keeping water out, keeping energy in or out, and keeping light in or out and controlling those. So, and this gives you just a real good basics if you haven't seen those being constructed up close and personal. And so let's see, our reading list is right here so that we can take a look and see. We're going to talk about the building envelope in general, framed walls, windows, doors, and this one doesn't belong on there. That one got left over on accident. Let me go. I'll have to go get rid of that one. Okay. And then we have a resource folder, which you'll see right here. There's again, there's building envelope material resources, which is a collaborative thing that you're going to work on. And then there's a building envelope estimate, and the resource sheet is right here with it. So you'll be able to do that. I'll go over that too. And then let's see, why is this one in here? Not sure why this one is in here because it's already in the project. Okay, so there's some more stuff for you. Just as always, I kind of get everything set out. But then there's one other thing that you'll need to be able to see, and this is just what we're going to call a wall module. Now, that doesn't mean that a wall is going to be designed exactly like this. There might be windows, there might be doors, there might be cutouts. This doesn't have any blocking being shown. It might be a double top plate or a double bottom plate. Double top plates happen when there's windows nearby that the loads have to be taken care of. But in general, you could estimate the cost of your walls by figuring out how many 8-foot wall modules would be used. And I know some of them will be 6 feet and 7 feet and 5 feet. But from the point of view of estimating, you can just use this. And so that's a typical piece of wall. It's 2 by 4. Well, it doesn't even say it's 2 by 4 or 2 by 6. There's something called top plate and a sill plate. And this says that you should use Western Wood Products Association Select, Doug Fir or Larch. And for the studs, you could use Western Wood Producers Association Stud. Okay, and those are two different things. Sometimes architects just call out Select all the way so that the inspector doesn't really have to worry about, did they accidentally put stud up here or not, right? They just say, okay, well, I don't want to worry about that. And the cost isn't very much different for a building. So I'll just use the higher grade the whole way. And this is showing 16-inch on center. And that's typical, okay, because halfway across is one piece of sheeting or sheathing or gypsum board. They're usually 4 foot. And so that's a very typical size. But sometimes you use what's called advanced framing, which puts it at 24 inches. And it does save some material, and strength-wise, it's usually just fine. And for most sheathing materials, it still nails properly. But this is a typical wall module. Okay? So there's some information for you. Those are things to view and read and look at. And if you need to attend a meeting with me, we can. I don't have a discussion or a simulation this week, but there's this material estimate to do, and there's a collaborative activity. So you'll find that in this here, it should be anyone with a link can edit. So everybody will be able to get into here and do your own work. You'll put your own stuff in here. You know what? I'm going to, right off the bat, I'm going to make it easier to put an image in there. There we go. And you're going to just create a resource library, building envelope material resource library. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So you have two things to do. You have your material estimate and you have your library. And of course, you've got your submittal template to do. So let's take a look at the submittal template. So here we go, our typical front page, which is your executive summary. And the first one is wood framed walls, and you're getting used to how to do this. You put down your material and you get some images and put them in here. And you should have plenty of material. You should get at least 4 or 5 of these ones linked up. And remember, you can delete rows if it looks like you should. And I really do like being able to put in here with a merge and put keywords in here. That's a really nice way of doing it. And then you can make it so that it justifies to the top. I think I can. That must be in my table formatting. Where's my table format? Oh, that's why. There. Was doing it right. so you can put in your keywords. So if you feel like doing that, that's good. Many people are doing some very, very nice work on these. And you've got the examples from the midterm to help you really figure out what a good presentation is just by looking at some of them. Okay, then we've got doors and we've got windows, types and specifications, and here's your estimate. Okay, and then you'll do your Revit detailed drawing, which is really 3 drawings. So how you present this is going to be up to you. You can change this into 3 separate sheets. You can add a sheet, or you can arrange all 3 of them on here. 3 is a little bit hard to arrange. Okay, so that's what your week looks like and how things are. I want to first go through your collaborative activity, because that's going to tie in to what this building envelope thing looks like. So you'll see here, that I've got a resource sheet, and it looks a lot like this building envelope material. There's a description of what the product is. There's an image. There's a manufacturer, a style or model, and sometimes these things don't, you can put not applicable. But this is the type of library that you get in design. And often, instead of having it on a spreadsheet, it's in catalogs, or you just have a set of links to important suppliers and you can look things up. But this is how I'm used to doing it from my working world. And so I like to put that forward. We always had what we called a validated product sheet. Okay, so that's what you're doing here. You're doing building envelope material resources, and the only ones that would go in here are ones that have been validated by a large number of requirements. Obviously, purchasing would check to make sure that it was available. Engineering would make sure that it had the right specs. Inspection would make sure that we got the right material specifications from them. And so, and then of course, usually it would have to be purchased and used and validated on the shop floor at least once before it could come into here. But that way, a designer can go, okay, everybody loves this product, everything's good, you can go to it. So I'm just going to do an example, and let me go to the instructions. We've got this new 2-factor verification. I don't know if that's required for students, but it's required for faculty and workers now. So here's the dilemma. Right? I know I have that information somewhere. You go searching through your email and past things. You know you had it. You can't remember where it is. And so the solution to that dilemma is to make your own resource library. And if you go into an interview and you show that you've already got one, employers are happy because they know that yours may not be like theirs. It may not cover exactly the same stuff, but they know that you understand that you're supposed to use verified, validated, accepted materials. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to find a cut sheet for a door or a window. It can be a sliding glass door, it can be an external steel door, it can be a fire door, It can be a garage door. It can be an internal door, a sliding pocket door. Just find a door and a window. And then go to this sheet, which I've got right here. You're going to go to that sheet. And first, you'll check to see that it's not already been posted. Now, things happen sometimes where somebody accidentally erases something or something gets lost. Don't freak out. Excuse me. Check it over and just let me know. I have history, right? You can look up the history and find out back to day one what was on there. So I think it's under file, version history. And so I can see the full history of everything that happened. And if something of yours got lost, I can go back and I can get it back in. So don't freak out if something happens, but do check yours. And if you do accidentally erase somebody's, just do Control Z to get it back. Okay, but you'll go in there and you'll add your selection to the spreadsheet. So let me find one here. I'm just going to do Lowe's quality door. Here it is. Exterior doors from Lowe's. I'll get a security door. What do you know? That's the type of door that I've decided I want. And I'm going to pick, I think this one looks better. Although it's blanked out. Why is that? I don't like that one. I'm going to go back. Now that I see it, I don't like it. I'll just go with this one. Pink. And I got to pick one. There's options on here. So I'm going to pick that, pick this. And I'm going to do, see, they have all these different sizes. 36, 32, 30, 34. Wow, look at that one. It's a double. I'll pick a 36 by 81. That's a pretty common exterior door. That's the one I've selected. Let me go. I'm going to pull these side by side now so that I can do them at the same time. So type, it's going to be a door. Now getting the image in here can be a little bit tougher. Okay, but let me see. It won't let me save the image. So I'm going to need to take an image of this thing. I'll use my snip tool. I don't care how you get the image. Doesn't have to be a perfect image. And look, there's no hardware, no nothing on this, but that's okay. And I'm going to save it in my images. And this is going to be a security door. So here's how you get an image in here. I go to Insert, Image, in the cell. That's a cool thing. In the cell. And then I can browse for that. And here's my security door image. Open. And it's in there. That is the coolest thing. And I can even make it center. Okay, who's the manufacturer for this thing? Gatehouse is the manufacturer. Gatehouse security doors. Gatehouse doors. So it's and if it won't fit, it is good to do this little adjustment thing up here to wrap the text. Style and model. This is a Gibraltar. Steel surface black. And I can do Alt Enter. And again, I need to wrap the text. The size is 36 by 81. So I'm just going to do a copy. And I do paste special. There we go. Now, resource link. I need a link. And that's my link right up there. It's the page. Control C. And now I can say link. Control V. Apply. And that'll take me there. Now, it's really good to have a spec for these. As you know, having the spec is pretty important. And most places will give you a spec. Might just have to do the installation manual. Specifications. So these are the specs. They don't give a very good spec on this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a link to the manual then. Where did I see that? A lot of places give you a better, probably the installation manual. I'll put that one in here. Okay, my cost. I need to get my cost out of here. $169.77. I'll put this one in. $178.71. And I like to make it look like dollar signs. And today is 10/19/21. I'm not making you put in who did it or whatever. But this is a really nice thing. Now, some people might want to make these all middle justified. Okay, there's all sorts of stuff you can do if you want to adjust how it looks, but that's your basics. And by the time you're done, you're going to have lots of types of doors. So if I wanted to do a Control F for a security door, it would get me right to it. So this is the purpose of having one of these resource libraries. And you'll each put one in, but of course, at the end of this week, you can download this and have the fruits of everybody's labor. Okay, so that's how you do the collaborative activity. And make your own copy or download it. Does that make sense? Everybody okay with that? That's the collaborative activity. Let's take a look at the building envelope material estimate. I'm going to close this one down. Now I've got, wrong one. Material estimate. There we go. So I'm going to look at my wall module and make an estimate for how much that costs. And then I'll do a window module and a door module. And here's my resource sheet. Okay, so maybe I want to have those side by side. Here's how I do that. I'm going to duplicate my file, and I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to do my Windows and left arrow, and here, Windows and right arrow. And on this one, I'll go to my resource sheet. Make it just a little bit smaller so I can see everything. Okay, so I need to start going through this and figuring it out. Okay, well, for one 8x8 module, I'm going to need a top plate. Okay, so I'm going to need one of those, right? That's what it looks like right here. I need a top plate, and it's 8 feet long. So I need one, and my cost is $8.98. And studs, oh, yeah, and it's the same. Studs, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need 7 of those, and those are $8.98. And you're just going to keep going until you're done. Now let's take a look and see what some of these things are like. Insulation. I've got a per foot number, 80 cents per foot. Let's take a look at this. When I do a piece of insulation, it's gonna lay right in here. So I need 8 foot plus 8 foot plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 times 8 is 48. I usually do a little bit of extra. So my insulation, I would need 50 feet. And then you can put the stuff in there. Let's take a look and see a wrap. A wrap, I need like 8 foot tall, 96 inches, by 8 feet long. Let's see what the wrap looks like. 9 feet tall by 100. So a 9 foot tall piece of wrap would absolutely cover this. And that's how they do it. They usually do a little wrap over the top, and then they do a little wrap hanging out the bottom so that you can flash over the top of it. And it's just really nice. Okay. And so 9 feet would be good because I need at least 8 and 8 foot long. And I have a per foot price. So I need 8 feet of it. I need sealant. Where does the sealant go? You actually put sealant on top of the stem wall underneath the sill plate. You really do put sealant there. And then since there's flashing, you put 2 beads. Okay, so there's a piece of metal flashing. Here, I'll draw it out. There's my stem wall that it's going to sit on top of. And then there's a piece of metal flashing that usually looks like that. Doesn't usually stick up that high, but I'm making it really obvious. And that way, if water comes down here, comes down the wall somehow, or even gets partway past some of the vapor barrier, it'll get down to the bottom, and then it can't go back up and over because water goes downhill. So it'll go downhill. And so you usually, even though it seems like it's sealed, you put a piece of a string of sealant below and a string of sealant above, and then you plow that down on top of it. So I would need 2 strips of sealant. I'd need 16 feet of sealant. Okay, and so there's this isn't quite right. I'm going to go ahead and change this one. This you actually need 16. It's 1 1/4. Okay, you get 12 feet out of each tube. Okay, and I need 16. I need 1.3 tubes. Okay, but how did I do this? I have it figured out as 0.69 per foot. So how many feet do I need? I would need 16 feet at my 0.69. Okay, and remember, that's because I've got a line below the flashing and a line above the flashing. And there's actually a little bit more where the flashing overlaps because you need to move it and bend it or overlap it. There's usually some sealant right along the overlap. I tell you, sealant is a big deal when you're trying to do building envelope stuff for doors, windows, and all that kind of stuff. And I just estimated 50 fasteners. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So let's say that's 15, 30. And then there's a whole bunch of blocking in here. So you're going to have about 50, and they're dirt cheap. If you look at your fasteners, there's about 50 cents per module because they're so cheap. Nails are just cheap. Okay, so those are all the parts that go into there. And then windows, I just picked out a window. And again, there's flashing. And you're going to estimate about 10 feet per window because you have flashing on the top, flashing on the bottom, flashing on the sides. And 10 feet is really a little bit low. You could do a little bit more than that. But this is a 3 foot, 3 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot. So that's about 10 feet. Okay, so you have 10 feet of flashing, maybe 12 again, 10 or 12 feet of sealant. You need sealant all around this thing. You need some fasteners putting the window in, and you need a header. Okay, the header is going to be just one of these. Okay, you're just going to have one of these on end for what we're going to do. We're just going to put a 2x4 header across it. Okay, and we could do more, but I'm just trying to give you the idea, not an actual perfect design. Okay, and now the flashing is right here. Here's your flashing, and notice I didn't put flashing in here on the wall module. That's used. You might put that on the stem wall module. So really, you could add in here if you wanted to put some flashing on, you could do that. Okay, but this just starts adding it up. So you're just going to go through here and read your material resources and put them in. And it'll add everything up for you. So I'm hoping that that's a fairly straightforward one. Let's take a look. Your given is going to be the material why does that? I keep forgetting to get rid of this thing down at the bottom here. You can get rid of this. That doesn't belong. Okay, so this would be your material resource sheet, and this would be your calculation sheet. So let's see what else we've got. I've demonstrated how to do the collaborative activity, your building envelope activity. And so the next one, do I have time? Yes. Let me go ahead and get my VMware started up. And what you will find while that's starting up is that yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't put that down. This really should be down in the activity. Your Revit detail drawings is an activity. So that's I'll move it around to put it in a better spot. I'll put these details down here, but they're there for you. And what you'll find is if you open Revit, if you download that Revit file and open it up, it's really set for you. And so I'm just going to do a real quick demonstration on how to do it. And this might take you 20 or 30 minutes if you really want to play around with it. The details are done, and I will note for you, these details are just images that I've snipped. This is not appropriate to a professional file, but for what we're doing educationally, it's going to be acceptable. Normally, like you did in the midterm and you've done before, these details would be drawn details. So I'm going to go open my version of this that I've already downloaded. And there it is. Architectural Detail Project. I'm going to show you how details are often arranged. Now, normally sheets are going to be much larger than this. You're going to use a C size or a D size sheet. So we're only going to get 3 details per sheet. And when it opens up, you're going to see that there's 3 door details, 3 wall details, and 3 window details. And if you go to the door detail sheet, it's empty. And I see I have a typo. I'm going to fix it. You don't have to in yours, but it is better if that's capitalized. And I'm going to hold my mouse, left click on it. I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to let go. And I'm going to put it somewhere in here. And I'm going to put it up in this upper corner. And there it is. And that would be a door detail that you would refer to in your design. And my hope is that after you put these in, you take some time to look it over and try to figure it out. There's lots that goes into getting, this is all about building envelope, keeping water out, controlling energy in and out, and controlling light in and out. Now let me put the sill in there. And I'll put steel door anchor detail. So that's how it's commonly done. And this would leave you room for 2 more details, but we're just putting these 3 on here. Okay, and there's usually either a detail sheet that's already chock full of details and you erase the ones that you don't want, or you just leave them in there, or you have a file like this with tons of details in it and you bring in the ones you want. And normally you would do that with this import CAD or insert from file. You would go to 2D elements from a file or insert a view from a file. And I could just, in my own file, I could bring these ones in. Okay, but that's the first thing you're going to do. Okay, and then you'll do the same thing for the next one. Wall details. Again, there's 3 of them to bring on. And window details. There's 3 of them to bring on. Of course, you'll put your name on here. And I just need snips. Now, please do save your file if you can. When you do your save it as whatever you'd like, architectural detail project. But you can save things in this W drive. W number drive. It's a U drive that uses your W number. If you're on VMware, those are saved. If you save it on the desktop, it will be gone when you log out. Okay, so do try to save these. I'm not going to save this one because I've already got one that's completed. So that's not too hard. The goal, though, is that you're really looking at those. Okay, that you've gone into it and take some time to look at these details. Oh yeah, to shed water. There's some stucco, and see how flashing works? So there's some flashing or a vapor barrier. And at the bottom of the vapor barrier, it lips over the flashing that comes out. And then it looks like there's sort of two types of flashing. There's some flashing that's already part of the window casing. That's probably already part of the window casing. And so it's like lip over, lip over, lip over. There's seals. I'll tell you, getting a window to seal properly is not always that easy. There's your existing header. That's the 2x4 or the 2x6. Here's some 2x4 blocking that's just kind of framing the window out. There's the actual, this one looks like it's for a door. Sorry. So this is where the door jamb is, and there's some casing, and so it's really cool to look and see how a door gets put together. And here's a sill detail, a door. And so this is at the bottom. This is at the top, the header. Here's the bottom, the sill, where there's some, a threshold and some concrete and some sort of a threshold piece, and then some sort of a weather stripping steel. And also, I mean, look at all that stuff that goes into the bottom of a door. Pretty incredible. And this is how you would anchor steel doors in. So all of these details, the architect has to be able to pick how they expect the contractor to get the work done. Okay, and that's what these details are for. And that just means that everywhere where you see this type of door, you're going to do that. So you don't have to draw all that detail every time. You can just draw a rectangle, call it a door. Okay, so here's some fixture penetrations. A fixture is something like an air conditioner, a heater, maybe some piping that's going to come through, a ductwork, anything that's going to come through a wall. And so then how do you seal around it? Right? How do you get that done? So there's that flashing word, and then there's some more, and then there's your actual siding, and how do you put the siding on, and how do you block behind it maybe so that it's strong enough to support this thing that's going through. You want to see behind me, I'm not recording it right now, but it's not on the recording, but if you're on right now, you can see that little light spot in mine is maybe I can move this. No, won't go out. But I just took an air conditioner out of there, right? Because I don't need an air conditioner in here anymore. So here's how do you remember where we said that there was a 6-inch minimum clearance? how does that wall actually hook down at the bottom? What does it look like? And how do you get that clearance? And there's some blocking. And how do you get that bottom layer in and then the next layer and your floors in? And so how do you do that? And this isn't even showing the flashing. So normally there's some sort of flashing here, and you would have some sort of flashing here to make sure that you're not getting stuff in there. And then outside corner details are really interesting. How do you do that when you have planking? Okay, well, you leave a gap and you caulk it. Okay, so this tells the contractor, there's the actual wall corner. How do you put your 2x4s and your together, and how do you put your OSB, your sheathing on, and how do you get your hardy plankers? This is for lap siding. How do you get your other stuff? So somebody has to know, have it in their mind how you're going to do this. And then they have to buy the right amount of stuff and things like that. And they have to be able to know that they're going to be putting caulk in here. Okay. So hopefully you take a look at these and just start trying to figure out how they work. Because when we talk about material resources, often we go, okay, strength of wood, strength of concrete, strength of steel, and that's important. But that's just the bones of your building, and all of these materials and how they go together are also appropriate and important. Okay, so that pretty well gets us set. I think I'm just going to look at really quickly look at your reading list here. I don't know why I'm saying make a copy of that. That one shouldn't. Right. I'm not doing the greatest job. I'm going to rework that page a little bit. But this is about building envelope systems. Building envelope systems. And so we're going to talk mostly about walls, windows, and doors. But it really consists of all the outer parts to maintain a dry, heated, or cooled indoor environment. And we're simplifying that to walls, windows, and doors. And major design concerns are water and water vapor, air, and thermal control. Thermal means heat, temperature. Okay? You're also going to see, and now I've got some stuff over here, our envelope design, okay, is different for residential, light commercial, and industrial. In residential, we use mostly what we call stick or wood framed. Now, a lot of light commercial is also stick framed, especially if it's 1 story or 2 story. But a huge amount of light commercial, that's your, like you're driving down Arden Way and you see all that, lot after lot after lot of little 1 story or 2 story small, between 1,000 and 5,000 square foot businesses. Many of those are this steel frame, okay, or aluminum frame, light metal frame. Okay, it goes up very quick and very easy also, and it's just as strong and it works very well. Not as many people can modify this as can modify these, but it works really, really, really well. Okay, another light commercial is tilt up, where you actually pour the wall on top of the foundation, then just tilt it up into place. Okay, and these all have different pluses and minuses to them. Okay. Tilt ups go up very quickly, they're very strong, and they have great thermal properties. So that's a really cool thing. And then if you're not doing tilt up, light commercial often uses CMU, right? That's your Walmarts and your Costco's and your Home Depots. Those are all just big concrete masonry unit blocks. And those are often done on a steel frame. The steel supports the roof, and the CMU is just the outside, but sometimes the CMU can also be the support. And then larger industrial uses a lot of steel and concrete. So that's your building envelope. It takes some sort of a frame, walls, and then for light and air control, we use windows. And for egress and ingress, of course, we have to have doors. So that's your building envelope. That's how it works. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay, then I'm going to stop the